Hi, audience. Very good evening to you. A very warm welcome to session number 6 on Saturday Evening Talks. And I'll just quickly give you a snapshot for those who are new. I'll just give you an introduction to Saturday Evening Talks show. We started this show about a month ago. Tasaisha as a company is driven by our passion in education management in all related fields, actually, both India, international. Whatever we do as a whole, the spotlight you will notice and you have been noticing and appreciating is always on the student, always, including this show, in fact. In this show, we bring relevant topics for studying, academic planning, career planning, and development. Over last month, 1 month, approximately, we have about 1,500 participants either attended who have attended us live or have seen our recordings on YouTube. The response has been fantastic, I must tell you. Once again, appreciate a lot to all you guys. Thanks a ton, viewers. I'll just take a quick 3.5 minutes or maybe a little less to present the slideshow and also introduce our company formally, and also the lead panelist and guest for today, that's Mr. Vijay Gupta. But before anything else, I'll lay some ground rules for all of us, including that includes me. Just 2 points, actually not many. The estimated duration for this show will be 75 to 80 minutes. That's about 1 hour, 15 minutes, 1 hour, 20 minutes approximately. Please keep yourself mute mode and no video mode on Zoom. Please do that. I repeat, keep yourself on mute mode and do not show any videos. There will be a few poll questions, maybe 3 to 5 questions that will be displayed on Zoom for Zoom attendees. Please be quick to answer them. You'll be told how much time you have, maybe 10 seconds, 15 seconds to answer them. Maximum it can be 60 seconds or 50 seconds or something like that. Please note that these poll questions will be displayed to all, whether you are coming here on Zoom or FB, but you can participate only if you are on Zoom. Any other social media entry into this, you won't be able to participate then. So only Zoom attendees, you won't be able to see that. So, okay, without wasting much time, let me just show you the PPT here, a quick slideshow.
Hello friends, we are Asia. We are one of South Asia's largest B2B international education organization with a pedigree of about 30 years. You notice our achievements. Today, we represent 600 international universities partnership across 23 countries and have advised over 300,000 students in 3 decades. Our expertise is in personalized and goal-based study abroad consulting, and we have helped over 230,000 students become global citizens.
The role played by TASA Asia is essentially to develop a working formula of success. That's not only right for you, but also fits your financial bill. We apply a scientific process to suggest next academic step, OR, an overseas program, or an institution, depending on your personal factors, skills, and academic levels. We study your academic credentials, your goals, your career dreams to assess you and develop your very personal career path.
We have a comprehensive study abroad platform for students. We offer international test prep coaching. Interested students are serviced from university application to admissions, the stay arrangement, the insurance, and many other pre-departure and post-landing services as you may need. You are also given resume enhancement services like immersions and internships abroad. We also have a range of vocations abroad program series to help students. And we also assist students for enabling services like advisory on scholarship, financial consultancy for studying abroad. Please contact us on our email at info@tasaasia.com or our phone number +91 99676 38666. TASA Asia, your preferred international education platform.
All right, that was a short and quick. I hope you were able to hear the slideshow as we went ahead. Okay, so what you see on screen right now is we are on talk show number 6. We are on Saturday Evening Talks, TASA Asia. The topic for today, as you must have known during the registration time, is, and that's displayed on the board here, is entrepreneurship a career? The attitude and schools and skills youth should learn. Our guest tonight, as you see on screen, is Mr. Vijay Gupta. You can see him live. Mr. Vijay Gupta is a certified entrepreneurship coach. He's a facilitator. He's a professional who worked for several corporates during his lifetime. He's a consultant today, and he's got brilliant credentials to himself. He's a PG from BITS Pilani. He's a fellow of Institute of Sales and Marketing in UK. He is certified administrator from the institute called the ISC Finland. His other credentials go as follows. You can see that on screen. He's the president and CEO of Team Results, one of the foremost coaching and consulting companies in India. He's trained and coached over 10,000 people in 130 leading organizations in the area of leadership, motivation, entrepreneurship, management development, sales and training, sales and marketing. He specializes in leadership, entrepreneurship coaching, mentoring, and has coached about 58 leading companies in this space. And that's believed to be the maximum by any Indian organization so far. He's held senior positions in Bharti Axa, Max Life, New York, NIS, Hero Motors, before he set up his own leading consulting organization in the year 2007. Before we actually move on to the session, I just want to lay down certain important facts as to what the viewers or the audience should expect from a session like this from our side. You can see that. We'll find out the meaning and importance of the word entrepreneurship in the context of career development. We'll find out entrepreneurship as an attitude or as a skill, ability and readiness to develop, organize, and manage own career, and as a student, this conscious realization that can make you a very successful you, guaranteed, as Mr. Vijay Gupta says. So we'll pass this through to Mr. Vijay Gupta as we in short while from now. Just hold on for a moment. All right, sorry for a short pause here. Okay, Mr. Vijay Gupta is already online, so let's now come today to today's topic, which is entrepreneurship, a career, and our guest tonight is Coach Mr. Vijay Gupta. We start the panel discussion. Welcome to the show, Mr. Gupta. Mr. Gupta, you already know that session is actually for students primarily, the young professionals and parents. Some of them in this show will also be participating, and we may also have, in fact, some teachers, professors, and education counselors in this session, maybe on Zoom or Facebook Live. Today's topic has emphasis, Mr. Gupta, on two words, both of them critical to each other, which is entrepreneurship and a career. The word entrepreneurship or entrepreneur is often associated, with business or businessman. The audience will also, believe that. So it's something to do with either karobar or karobari, I should say in Hindi. As a career, generally, there is no correlation found to be between these two things, that is entrepreneurship and career. So today's topic, we will need some elaboration from your side, sir, as we go through the discussion. I'll request all the viewers to, listen to this conversation carefully. And as we said during the slideshow earlier, if you really develop the entrepreneurship ability, no matter what's your personal goal, I'm sure the results will be wonderful. So just be with us as we open the dialogue with him. Mr. Gupta, the first thing that I wanted to, get some clarity is I saw the word entrepreneurship coach in your profile. That indicates it's possible to develop or fine tune the ability of entrepreneurship, right? So it's not just that you have a God gift from God, from the Almighty. You can fine tune it. If you don't have it, you can still develop it. Am I right in my understanding, sir?
Absolutely. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for the opportunity. As stated earlier, I mean, this is something that I'm extremely passionate about, and I hope I'll be able to convert some of you in the next 1 hour or so towards entrepreneurship. So clearly, entrepreneurship is trainable, is coachable. I mean, if you were to just go to Google and, type entrepreneurship training or entrepreneurship coaching, just before the show, I saw there are some 200 million pages, which give out details about entrepreneurship coaching and training. So I'm just saying that, if you filter out also, then I'm aware of the fact that United Nations has a separate program called MPRAC, in which they develop entrepreneurship.
Okay.
Then there is an institute in Ahmedabad, very much. The institute where from which I have learned and graduated and got certified, advanced coach, entrepreneurship coach, is an organization called NISBUD, National Institute of Entrepreneurship and Small Business Development, situated in Noida. So clearly, and then, over last more than 15 years, my organization team results and I have been working with many corporates, with many individuals on developing entrepreneurship. So you're absolutely right. It is not something that you're born with or you're born without. You know, it is something that is coachable, that is learnable. It has specific competencies. It has specific skills that you can develop. Behaviors associated with that, and that leads to development of entrepreneurship.
Excellent, sir. Okay, before we actually move on to the topics, I will, request the audience to start commenting and participating with the first opening poll question that goes on your screen. I'll request admin to display the first poll screen, please. You have 15 seconds to respond to this. Just be a little quick. What is entrepreneurship? There are some choices given to you on your screen. I'll request just 15 seconds to attendees to view the answers, to view the question and respond as quickly as possible. 15 seconds only. This will be wiped off from your screen. All right. So, sir, we have some results, which we can see. This is what the audience feels, what an entrepreneurship is all about. So there are certain traits, there are certain, points mentioned there. The audience feels all of them, most of them felt all of them are important. But what do you have to say, sir?
Though I would be very tempted to accept the answer, all of the above, because that really sounds nice to be talking about it. And also, surprisingly to me, the second question is also skill. So I'm not going ahead completely with all of the above, primarily because I don't believe it is a skill. So, that actually, in some sense, knocks off the top two responses, both the all of the above and the skills. And let me quickly explain. You need certain skills to develop entrepreneurship, but it all starts from attitude. And we all understand that when you build the same attitude over a period of time, when you keep doing the same thing, you form habits, and habits lead to culture. Culture has certain values associated with it. So while all other questions in some sense are related, but the skills is, in the whole pyramid, is at a much lower level with respect to developing the entrepreneurship. To the extent I'm saying that if you don't have the right attitude, if you don't have the right culture, and you go ahead and try and develop the skills, it's not likely to be really successful there. So if I was to pick one answer out of these as my top answer, it is an attitude. Okay. Completely, clearly, it is an attitude.
So if I request you to define a skill, an attitude, and a career, can you draw some quick answers to this?
It's a very simple,
for clarity of the answer.
I will use very simple terminology, which is can and will. Can you do it? Will you do it? Now, I may be, learning a skill. I may be very good at that skill, which is the can. So I have the ability to can do. But do I have the ability? Do I have the attitude to will do? Peak performers obviously operate on that they also can do and they're also willing to do. So in my understanding, attitude and aptitude is looking at like this. So attitude is exactly whether you will do, even if you knew the job. And aptitude or, skill or can is that do I have the skills to do it, right? So imagine a situation that you have learned all the skills, you are great in terms of time management, everything. But if your attitude towards time management is still casual, those skills will be completely underutilized or not utilized. So that's how I would like to define either can and will or attitude and aptitude, whatever is easier for the audience to understand. My understanding of skill and attitude is like that.
तो अगर मैं इसको हिंदी में बोलूंगा सर, तो क्या मैं एक शब्द मैंने सुना था, जज्बा. I don't know how you define that. करने का जज्बा होता है कुछ, तो
I would say that jazba, in my understanding, is more of passion. So it's a higher level of willingness.
Even better. Okay.
Even better that I'm passionate to do what I'm saying. मैं हिंदी में बोलूंगा अगर, तो मैं बोलूंगा कि कर तो सकता हूं पर मैं क्या करूंगा. That's where we are coming from. So I think entrepreneurship is more about कि मैं करूंगा, and then later on automatically you try. See, if as far as entrepreneurship is concerned, if you have that willingness, then you will know where to pick up the skills from. Because one of the key things of entrepreneurs or entrepreneurship is resourcefulness. Right? I will seek out resources. I will learn from others. I will go to places where I can pick up the relevant skills associated with entrepreneurship. But if I don't have the attitude, no matter how many skills, how much skill you want to, train me on, it's not going to work.
All right, sir. Before we proceed, I'll request the admin to throw or to display mid-session poll set number 1. That's once again, it goes to audience. Audience, you will have just 10 seconds to respond to this. I guess it's taking a little time. Oh yeah, it's having. Just a quick question, just a quick objective type question of what you feel is starting a business. Starting a business and entrepreneurship, same or different? What do you feel? Be quick. 10 seconds. All right, I have to terminate this. 10 seconds are over. That's what the audience feels. They are different. What do you say, sir?
Absolutely agreed. And I think even people who said same, if the question was more about is running a business, I think they might have got a little
confused about
the word of starting. Even if running a business and entrepreneurship, are they different? They're different. So let me quickly explain. Being an entrepreneur and running a business is same, right? It's kind of synonym. You can call me, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm running a business, or starting a business, operating a business, whatever you want to use the word. That is same. So businessman and entrepreneur may be the same things. So entrepreneur may have a broader category of businessman, industrialist, and everything else kind of thing. But the moment you put entrepreneurship, which I'm going to explain a little later in the day, then the whole scenario changes. It's like leader and leadership, right? I may be leader, but I may still not demonstrate leadership. Similarly, I may be entrepreneur, but I may not demonstrate entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship is not necessarily associated with only starting, running, operating a business.
So which means that even if I'm in HR, I'm a technology expert or anything like that, I should still, I can develop entrepreneurship as a quality and enhance it, right, sir?
I'm saying, you told me in the beginning that there are a lot of parents, hopefully, in this session.
Yes.
So I'm saying if you are a father, being a father requires entrepreneurship. Forget the professional side or the business side. Even in the personal relationship, personal guiding your children, your wards, your thing everywhere. So it's clearly, you also said there are a lot of teachers and professors, hopefully there. Great. I mean, demonstrating entrepreneurship, they have almost every day an opportunity to demonstrate entrepreneurship, even if technically speaking, they may not be entrepreneurs themselves.
Yeah, right. So, sir, we've gone this much ahead. Would you like to define the word entrepreneurship in your own way and with an example? Can I ask you what is this all about?
So let me quickly tell you a story in the sense that, an actual situation in Indian businesses. Many years back, I think you and I and people in kind of our age group would remember. The children may not. So you guys listen to this more as a story. In late 70s and early 80s, we had to book a scooter before getting it. You might find it surprising.
Absolutely. No,
but
no,
we had
no.
to,
I remember that.
yeah, I'm saying that the children may find it surprising, but we had to deposit 500 rupees. In fact, even more surprising, you may find that if you were paying the booking amount in foreign currency, you would be given priority. I mean,
Priority.
amazing.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
So, what I'm trying to say that why would that be a situation that you had to book? The obvious answer is that the demand was more than the supply, right? Now, this is as far as the customer consumer is concerned. But what about the scooter manufacturers? The fact that there was so much of demand, I'm sure you will all agree that it was a huge resource for them. So they were sitting with this great resource of having as much demand as they could produce, but still everything would be sold and booked in future. Subsequent, after some years, what happened to that resource of demand? It went down completely. So there are two organizations I'm talking about. These two organizations, which are hugely resourceful with respect to the demand, suddenly became resourceless with respect to that particular resource called demand. We are discussing Bajaj Auto and LML. These are the two companies which are in business at that point of time. When the demand went down completely, my question to some of the knowledgeable audience here is, what did LML do? And probably the answer is genuinely not too much. They made some half-hearted attempt to, to market some Chinese motorcycle, but generally they did not do anything. So probably they said, yeah, I mean, what is this? What did Bajaj do? Bajaj said, okay, I don't have this resource. This resource is gone, which is demand for scooter. But what is it that I have? I have excellent manufacturing facility. I have tools, jigs, and fixtures. I have dealer network. I have people who understand business. I have financial resources. And probably most important, I have Hamara Bajaj, the brand. And then they shifted to motorcycle. And as everybody know, they took external help from Kawasaki. They established, and I think everybody knows, they're only number 2 in the world in terms of number of units manufactured and sold to Hero, right, worldwide. So my question to audience would have been very simple. Everything was same. What was the difference between one company and the other company? And this difference is what I refer to as entrepreneurship. Both of them, by definition, were entrepreneurs. You can't deny, if there was a terminology which I had to place on both the businesses, they would be broadly categorized as entrepreneur. But this whole thing of giving up versus finding alternate resources, finding other things, seeking external help like Kawasaki and all, and running, and not only running, flourishing your business to the level that Bajaj is today, is clearly, the point I'm trying to make here, that it's about entrepreneurship. So the difference between entrepreneur and entrepreneurship is same. Both the companies that I gave you example were entrepreneurs, but one of them probably had better sense of entrepreneurship than the other. And that is the reason that for every one successful business, 100 businesses of similar nature keep closing down. In my understanding, that's the only reason. Now you have a flourishing business, it goes to the second generation, either multiplies. You take a Kumar Mangalam Birla, you take a Aditya Birla kind of thing. Other category, I can't give you the names publicly. But there are other businesses which go to the second generation and completely die down. Right. So to me, the reason primarily is that the new business owner demonstrated had entrepreneurship or not. It's very simple, leader and leadership. You can make somebody a leader of a political party, okay, because of whatever reasons. But how would you get him the leadership? The quality of leadership, you can't give it to him just by appointing him in a position because of whatever reasons.
That's exactly. I understand. So the importance of entrepreneurship, according to you, is immense. So I come back from the same word, whether you are a businessman or not, but you must have entrepreneurship quality. So whether you're a simple man like you and me, you still have to have.
Right? As the only thing is that entrepreneurship gets quickly noticed, calculated, measured, results given more with businessmen. because you can see the profit balance sheet, you can see the growth, you can see how many market share and
Yes,
everything.
you instantly start seeing the results
Yeah,
on
so that
financial.
is the reason maybe entrepreneurship gets a little bit more associated with entrepreneurs, but I'm absolutely of the firm opinion that it is not only for the businessmen or entrepreneurs.
So from a person, from an independent person, or from the family or a country, what's the importance you would like to associate entrepreneurship with? You
It's
mentioned
pretty
leader and
simple.
leadership, actually.
No, I would say only something, to me, entrepreneurship has two major pillars. One is excellence and second is ownership.
That's one. That's
These are the
important, but
two
critical one.
important pillars on which entrepreneurship rests. Now, imagine a family where everybody or a particular member of the family is striving always for excellence and is not settling for success. Okay. And takes end-to-end ownership of whatever he does. He doesn't blame the others. He doesn't blame the circumstances, the apparent resources, etc. What would he take this family to the level? Okay. And same thing, any society. Let's say that there's a school, for example, all the teachers, there's a college, all the professors demonstrate entrepreneurship. They will be able to take the whole institution to a completely different level. And same thing therefore applies to the country. If the country's leadership is entrepreneurship, Israel is a great example. As a country, if you say, they have all along demonstrated, entrepreneurship. And that is the reason that, say they were like they gained independence around the same time like many other, including our country. But look at where they are. Nobody can, look at in their direction with any kind of threat. Because everybody now, if you see, every single person has to, join the forces for a period of time. So you look at all those aspects, and you will realize that this is something which can actually create complete excellence orientation in the whole society. I mean, I would
That's in one word. In one word, you've described it rightly. Everybody runs for the success, but the excellence part of it probably iska nazarandaz ho jata hai. And therefore, the gaps between whoever excels and owns a Mercedes versus anybody else, right?
And and the other thing is ownership. We can't never underestimate the whole
yes, of
the
course.
ownership. And that is where it comes about. So again, I mean, if I was to quickly take a minute to say the difference between accountability and ownership. Okay. So the moment we start moving from accountability to ownership, first of all, most of us are not even reaching the level of accountability, being held accountable, agreeing to be held accountable. Now, I'm talking of a completely different level, moving beyond that to ownership. So I'm not saying accountability versus ownership. My phrase is not just accountability, but ownership also.
Right. All right, sir. So before we move on, we have one more poll question coming up on screen. Admin, please. So you have 15 seconds to respond to this. Guys, please be quick. This is for those who feel they belong to a salaried class family and generally possess this kind of attitude. So what is your feeling about it? Post my studies, I would like to take a job and continue like that throughout my life just because I have been into a salary class family. I'm perfectly clear about the goal. I am not interested in any business now or later. Do I still need to understand and master entrepreneurship? All right. 15 seconds over. I'm going to end this polling now. All right. 94% people say agree to this. Yes. So, sir, your view. Probably they got over-influenced with whatever your dialogue was earlier.
In a real world, I would have loved to speak to these 6% people to understand that, what is their viewpoint on that. But okay, let's proceed. So, again, if we were to say, do I still need to master and understand how to become an entrepreneur? I think that the result would have been different, very different. That I don't want to run business. My role is clear. Do I still know to learn how to become an entrepreneur or a successful entrepreneur? I think that result. But entrepreneurship, I'm glad that this answer has come, which means that whatever I had spoken before that has got registered, and that's wonderful.
That's pretty natural especially for salaried class people. They do not want to venture into a business. So they just because my father, my grandfather, and forefathers, everybody did drew a salary. So let me just possibly go ahead with the same thing. What do they feel? And 94% people felt otherwise, and 6% still want to stick to the gun.
So here quickly, I want to introduce another word which is called intrapreneur, INTRA, instead of entre. Now, intrapreneurship or entrepreneur is a word coined for somebody who is in a job, but in the job demonstrate entrepreneurship. So I may be running a job, I may be operating a job, I may be looking for a career in a job, but I can still demonstrate entrepreneurship. And there's a
And
specific
that
word
may be, and that may be a non-sales, non-management job too.
everywhere in any role that I am. So that is where I am referred to as an entrepreneur. Now the the understanding is very, very simple. Though I'm in a job, but I do my job as if the business belonged to me.
Yeah.
Just imagine from a business owner's perspective, he has a Rajiv or a Vijay or somebody else who's working with him. And that gentleman, that lady works for him, for the organization, as if the organization belonged to him or her.
Yeah.
You know, then there's nothing that he would not do because the organization मेरी है. मुझे इसको successful करना है. Right. And that is where this whole thing about job and business completely get blurred with respect to entrepreneurship or intrapreneurship. Yes, with respect to entrepreneur, they may be different, but not with respect to entrepreneurship.
So, what are the attributes or characteristics you would like to look for in the person who wants to develop his entrepreneurship?
So, I would encourage each one of you who has any specific interest and if to dig very deep into this whole concept, because entrepreneurship is not an English word. It is clearly something which has got specific competencies and behaviors associated with it. So if I can list out, I can list out, but I'm just saying that each one of that will take a lot of understanding to get into this. So, but anyway, initiative, drive for results, self-confidence, having a clear vision, these are the competencies associated with that. Initiative, drive for results, self-confidence. Okay. And ownership and not just accountability. So there are 5 competencies. Let me repeat. Initiative, drive for results, self-confidence, having a clear vision for and inspire self and others, and not just accountability but ownership also. These are the 5 competencies that we talk. Then there are similarly 5 behaviors associated with it. One is not operating from comfort zone. Just listen to this and you will completely appreciate what is entrepreneurship all about. Not operating from comfort zone, striving to achieve stretch goals. And now the moment you understand and appreciate this, you will see that it flies in all. Now, if I'm going for a walk of 5 kilometers. Now I say, no, I will not settle for 5 kilometers. I want to start from tomorrow, 6 kilometers, 5.5 kilometers. That is a stretch goal for me. Okay. So anything that we are doing currently, I'm saying, somebody like me may be willing to, wanting to lose weight. I set a goal of, let's say 10 kilograms, just hypothetically speaking. I said, nahi yaar, 10 nahi, 12. That's stretch goal. That's not operate. The other view would be that I know I need to lose 10, and if I really work hard, I will be able to do 10. But I say, yeah, I think, in next 3 months, I will lose 2 kilograms. Now that's operating from comfort zone. Or saying, finding excuses not to be doing it. So whether there is a personal goal with respect to health, with respect to financial, with respect to achievement of something, or it is when you are an organization, it's a professional goal, or if you're in a business, you're a business goal. The moment you do not settle for goals within comfort zone, stretch goals, you are already demonstrating entrepreneurial behaviors. The second is taking calculated risk. So we are not saying that you do not operate from comfort zone means you start operating like a gambler. You take risk. Entrepreneurs take risk. They do, but they take calculated risk. So understanding what is my sweet spot, what is my operating zone, where neither am I not taking any risk or I'm operating like a gambler. That's the third. Third is very, very important, learning from feedback. Beautiful sentence somebody said that for entrepreneurs, which means entrepreneurship demonstrating people, neither is success nor failure permanent.
Brilliant.
So neither is success permanent, which means that if you have achieved something, these people will continue to raise the bar. Nor is failure. They don't sit down and start brooding and say, what could be done. I mean, For me, good examples in the Indian context are people like Amitabh Bachchan and Sachin Tendulkar. You know, they are entrepreneurs. Now, please appreciate, I'm not referring to them as entrepreneurs as the commonly understood. I'm saying people who have entrepreneurial mindset. They have entrepreneurship, not giving up, learning from feedback from this thing. Right? Then again comes the ownership and accountability. That's something that I would like to probably, before we close the session, I would like to share a story and leave very clearly an understanding that what do I mean the difference between accountability and ownership. Okay, so these are clear competencies and behaviors, and that is where you can learn entrepreneurship, because each, for example, initiative has certain behaviors associated with it. Self-confidence is certain behavior. If you work on those and start developing those competencies and behavior, you overall start developing entrepreneurship. So I'm not saying that there are, you should work hard, you should be honest. No, we work with organization, we work with individual, where we spell out exact competencies and behaviors and how to work on this. What is the measurement of reaching the next level? What you can do to develop a culture of entrepreneurial. That's where we're talking about.
I think you just mentioned. Let me just take the next question from the answer that you gave it now. You mentioned about accountability and ownership. Would you like to? Why not we elaborate something here itself in the context of entrepreneurship?
Okay, so let me quickly share a story, which I've taken from Devdutt Patnaik's book, because it fits in beautifully. The story goes something like, it's not a religious story, it's a mythological story. The story goes something like this: that once, Narad Muni went to Bhagwan Vishnu, and he said, Bhagwan Vishnu, you are so unfair. Now imagine Narad Muni, who keeps going around Narayan, suddenly telling Narayan that you are unfair. So God got very thing. He said, Are Narad Muni, what happened to you today? He said, Nay, sir, you are very unfair. I keep singing your praises in all the three lokas and everything, but you have not given me, any position in any of your temples. आपने किसको जगह दी अपने मंदिरों में? गरुड़ जी को. So only Garud is seen in the temple of Vishnu. I don't have any space. Isn't that unfair? So as he was saying this, there was a lot of noise outside. So Narayan ji said, "Arey, jara dekho to Narad Muni bahar kya awaaz aa rahi hai?" Now obviously Narad Muni didn't like it. I mean, he's discussing something so important and he's being sent out. So anyway, he couldn't do anything. So he went out, came back running. So sir, there was a milkmaid who was going, and she was carrying 2 milk pots, and there was milk in it, and somewhere she fell or something. One milk pot broke and the entire milk spilled. So she was making all that nice. So sir, I was saying, no, wait. Bhagwan Vishnu said, so how much was the loss for her? God, what's happening to you? Then he went running again and came back running again. Said, sir, she's saying the loss of 5 rupees. So sir, he said, just 1 minute, Narad Muni ji. Is she expecting something from me? Now, by now, Narad Muni had lost his complete composure and he was about to say, suddenly Garudji entered. So Bhagwan Vishnu didn't say anything to him. He said, Garudji, dekho bahar, there's a lot of sound outside. Noise outside. So he came back and he said, sir, there was this milkmaid going. She was carrying, milk in 2 milk pot. Somewhere, her foot missed a step and she fell down. One of the pot broke and the entire milk spilled. And when I found out, from her, it was 5 rupees. So she was saying that 5 rupees. I offered her 5 rupees. She said, sir, thank you very much. But somebody had been coming in and out and asking me a lot of questions. In that, I have also got delayed for the market. And now this other pot's milk, which is also 5 rupees, I will not be able to sell in the market. So I said, okay, I gave her 10 rupees, 5 for the milk that she had lost, 5 I bought the milk, because milk, being milk in Mandir, it could be used for a lot of things like prasad and also. So I have given it to him. He says, okay, great. So, and that. Now, Devdutt Patnaik at the end of the story says that Narad Muni in this context was the Yajman. And one of the two people was Karta and the other person was Karyakarta. I mean, I wish I could ask who was Karta in the story or who was Karyakarta. So let me ask you only, Rajiv. Who do you think was Karta in the story and who was Karyakarta?
Oh, I feel Narad was the Karta and the Garud was the Karyakarta.
Ulta.
Ulta? Okay.
Narad ji was the Karyakarta. Why? Because he did everything that he was told. Jaake pata karo.
Okay, but so he focused just limited
He
way.
just
He did
went
his
and
job
did
and
whatever.
returned back. Huh?
Whereas Garud ji took an end-to-end ownership. That is the difference between accountability and ownership.
Okay.
A good employee,
We'll
everybody,
take a broader perspective of the whole thing, and then
you will say accountability.
Okay.
I'll give you a quick practical example. Let's say a peon was given a responsibility of getting some certificate from some government office. So he came, nothing was done. So the owner asked him 3 days later, what happened here? I had sent you to say, oh sir, I forgot to tell you that guy has got transferred in that government department. So the owner said, to? Now the peon's to was even louder. He said, to? I mean, what do I do? The guy has got transferred. Right? So the owner asked him, tell me something. If this was not an office, agar teri ye parchun ki dukaan hoti, it was a small shop owned by you and you needed a certificate, what would you have done? You would have just said you transfer ho gaya. I said, nahi sir, fir to kuch bhi karta lekar hi aata na. Now this to me is ownership. Kuch bhi karta lekar hi aata versus reporting ki babu ka transfer ho gaya, main kya karu. Right? That to me is the difference between accountability and ownership. Doing the minimum, which you are asked to do, KRAs, KPIs, this, that, all fall into that category. Ownership is going beyond. Now, if you are the business owner, tell me, which kind of people would you want to work with? And that is where my
those who
question
take a broader responsibility and take the full
This is
as
where-
a business, every work is a business. Every focus is a broader focus. Huh?
No, it's you are head of the family. You have 2 children,
Right.
One is a karta, one is a karyakarta. So you would want to, you are more settled in your mind, in your heart, if you're giving that assignment, that job to the karta child rather than the karyakarta. Because आपने बोल दिया, अब भूल जाओ, काम हो जाएगा.
That's right. I understood.
Right. Karyakarta might come back to you 3 days later with some reason or excuse. Okay.
Yeah.
So the problem will be faced by the karta child also, but he will come running to you before the deadline is ended and say, sir, this is the problem, Pop, I'm facing. What should I do? That is the difference. And this is clearly an attitudinal issue. It has nothing to do with skills.
So is it an attitude? Is entrepreneurship, you mentioned the attitude attribute just above, before. Is it an attitude?
It is an attitude. See, there are skills associated with that attitude. For example, I said self-confidence. So there will be the communication will be one skill, influencing will be another skill. So there would be skills associated with it very clearly. Problem solving, will be another skill. But it all flows first from the attitude. That's what I mean.
Right. Okay. Before we move on, audience, one more question goes on screen to you. Audience, please display this. Audience, you'll have 10 seconds only to respond. Quick question.
If I get even a small percentage of no, I don't think I've been able to emphasize my points. Oh, wasn't the time over? I'm sorry. I thought.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I'm so glad. I told you that even if there was a small percentage of people saying no, then I haven't really been able to emphasize my point. I'm so glad that we got 100% yes. Absolutely. I don't want to re-emphasize this because people have already got it.
All right. So, okay, let me just, we spoke about the attitude being taken as an attribute, as an important or critical attribute without which entrepreneurship probably fails. So what is the right attitude and entrepreneurship according to you one should have, and whether they can be developed?
So I think I've been emphasizing on that. They clearly can be developed. So, you will have to break down attitude from an English word, from a complex word, which is many meanings for all the people, to specifically the competencies and the behaviors associated with the attitude. Every attitude has certain behaviors associated. That's how you measure, you learn an attitude, right? So you break down this attitude of entrepreneurship or intrapreneurship. Entrepreneurship, if you really genuinely want a business thing. Entrepreneurship, if you want to be in job and still do better than everybody else. My point is very simple. Consider entrepreneurship as a tool for the journey towards excellence. Okay. The moment we appreciate this part, that it is about, demonstrating, practicing excellence and not settling merely for success, everything else follows. So ask yourself, are you somebody who wants to remain in comfort zone and say, yaar, jitna minimum hai, utna karo, sukhi raho? Perfectly fine. That's another way of living life. I'm not saying that it is wrong or right. But then clearly you do not have and you do not want to have an attitude towards entrepreneurship. Because entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial mindset people are restless. They don't settle on their current laurels. They're always striving to achieve the high level. At the same time, failure, they take a little break, learn from the feedback, okay, so this time, and then go ahead again.
Yeah, so no give up.
No give.
No giving up at all. So if that goes as one of the the major point behind success, whether they can be developed, I should say, or not, and should an early age be a good age, or you can do that anytime in life?
I mean, at the earliest possible age. Again, I'm saying for non-achievement, for underachievement, do you have reasons or do you have excuses? Okay. If you have excuses, you're the wrong audience I'm speaking to. Right? You have reasons. We may have genuine reasons, but the genuine reasons have a tendency to overcome those reasons, either seeking help from external resources, from somebody else, or finding out what is it that I can do differently. But when it comes to excuses, the tendency of an excuse giver is simply to give it up and say, how could I do when the situation was this? And same, in the same bad situation. I mean, look at the current situation, current challenges that everybody is facing. Some of us are sitting and cribbing. Some of us are learning new skills. Some of us are doing something extra to kind of reach out, understanding that these are challenging times. So we have to do something else, and let's move on and let's create this thing. So once again, I mean, I don't want to make it a Sonu Sood kind of an example, but still, the guy has demonstrated entrepreneurship. The challenge was for everybody the same.
Absolutely the
right?
same.
Somebody took an initiative, and that is where the initiative comes into it. And Sonu Sood is a celebrity, is well known, but around us, there are so many people who have done smaller little initiatives to contribute to society or to succeed in their own business doing differently. I mean, look at the medium that we are on currently, Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
How did they created this wonderful platform and kept adding newer tools and all because they saw that this is an opportunity.
Yeah, that was a very valid examples. Okay, so we touched upon attribute of attitude as we listed right in the beginning. We got another one which is called something to do with skills. So is skill also associated with entrepreneurship, and whether they can be learned or gained? I think yes, but the earlier you do it, the better it is, right?
Absolutely. For example, communication would always be a great skill to learn. Influencing will be absolutely a great skill to learn. If you go a little further, negotiation. I don't mean negotiation only with respect to commercial negotiation. Okay. To get my job done happily by you when I don't have authority over you is influencing, persuasion. So influencing, persuasion, assertiveness, communication. These are all skills that will add to attribute. See, one skill, or I will not say skill, but seeking help. Just imagine, in the even today, but in earlier Google Maps time, people one is to start, we'll be driving, and we would not be willing to ask anybody for the route, and we will take some 3 kilometer extra route, some take around. One of us would roll down the window and simply ask the next person, can you tell me the way to this place? He saved time, he saved fuel, he saved a lot of other things by simply asking for help. So that's another thing which, you would never find an entrepreneur, sitting on his ego and not seeking help. If you work for an entrepreneur and you have certain set of skills, he will create opportunities to leverage your skills.
Sir, we are actually speaking to students, so therefore I ask this question probably again and again. Let them understand, the students especially, or the parents or the teachers who are teaching their, students at a younger age, younger platform they are on, that these are certain attributes. Yes, you can develop them, and the earlier you realize, the better it is that there's something more to learn, and it will be better when before you actually climb up to take a a corporate role or a business role somewhere in life.
See, I'll be very upfront about it. You and I did not have as many opportunities of demonstrating
yes.
entrepreneurship as these are available to these people,
students today.
Lovely opportunities. I mean, startup. We keep talking about startup. There are startup labs. There are incubated centers and now institutions, colleges, and all. And earlier I remember there used to be only IITs, but now in every single institute, every other institute, this is being encouraged. So the point is very simple, whether this is a startup or a new business or anything else that you would want to do, the question is, are you willing to take risk? Are you willing to take calculated risk? That's the question. Now that is where I come to the next question. As parents, are you willing to recognize the passion that your child has in the field the child has the passion? Times have gone by that you either become an engineer or a doctor. There are so many other careers available. There are places, like your institute, your facility available to guide the right people to the student. But somebody has to come and seek that help. Right? So as a parent, as a student, opportunities are there. The difference between, if I may say, a non-entrepreneurial and entrepreneurial mindset is that are you willing to leverage that? So,
that answers it all.
As I said, there are opportunities available for every. See, each one of us could take initiative if there was no risk associated with it. It's as simple as that. We all want to take initiative, but why don't we take initiative? Because there is a risk associated.
There is a risk.
Right? All the parents would, and professors and teachers would clearly identify in their lives as an individual. Forget the role that you perform. Either you have leveraged those, huge property, boom that had come up, or you are like me, regretting the other person who had at that point of time invested at 5,000 square feet is now 13 or 15,000 square feet. Right? But when he was investing in 5,000 square feet, there was a certain element of risk. Right? Will that society really come up or will not come up, etc., etc. Now he invested at the right time. Now, whether it is property, whether it is career, whether it is anything else in life, if you are throwing in your hat in the ring when the ring is not even probably visible, that is where you are taking the risk. Same thing happens to stock market. We keep hearing about the story. He made so much of money. My friend, yes, he made because he invested at the time when nobody else was telling him that this is going to be the most sound, risk-free investment that you would ever come across. But at the same time, many of us also lost money who went by hearsay or, because we were trying to act as gamblers. And that is where I come back to the point that you take risk, but you take calculated risk. In anything else, you're automatically demonstrating entrepreneurship.
All right, I think I would like to now, come on to the topic where we began from, that is entrepreneurship as a career. So can entrepreneurship really be taken as a career? That's the topic for today's discussion, guys. So please be careful, be very attentive to what Mr. Gupta responds to. I think, sir, would you like to elaborate the correlation first between these two words and then explain to this answer?
I'll go back to the very, very simple way. Becoming an entrepreneur is a career choice. Demonstrating entrepreneurship is an attitude. Let me repeat. Becoming an entrepreneur is a career choice. Demonstrating entrepreneurship is an attitude. However, if you really want to take up becoming an entrepreneur as a career, either a startup, new business, joining your family business, anything, anywhere. So either you want to start or you want to grow an existing business. Entrepreneurship will take you places which no other attitude, nothing else will take you. But that does not mean, we have been saying this from the beginning, that it is only for the new, budding, or current businessmen or entrepreneurs. So if you develop entrepreneurship in anything. So I'm saying entrepreneurship is not a career in itself, but whatever career you choose, moves you from success to excellence if you add entrepreneurship into it. You want to become an engineer, you want to become a doctor, you want to become a professor, you want to become a cricketer, you want to become anybody, from that perspective. The difference between Vinod Kambli and Sachin Tendulkar, naturally gifted, talented, was the entrepreneurship. So any career that you are taking up, you're thinking of taking up, try and develop entrepreneurship somewhere as an attitude at the back of your mind. It will get you into passion thing about you're doing. And once you have passionate about what you want to do, everything else falls into place.
I think you just sometime back you also mentioned the word excellence. So that puts in the things in the right spirit. Once you do whatever you do, if you do it excellently, then I think you will be appreciated and you'll get your rewards.
I'm saying you think of a project that you want to take up, even as a career, take up as a project. Think of it as a project, and put the competency that we talk about, initiative. Okay, so you go out, you take initiative, you find out from people. I mean, I'm aware of some people who did not even do enough research at the time of taking up a course to find out where all is available, versus some people who took a lot of effort to understand what courses are available where. I don't have to tell you who is doing better in life today.
I'm going to ask you this question about the courses if possible towards the end of the program, sir.
So I'm saying it's about initiative.
That's for the benefit of audience, right?
The second is drive for results. Are you so busy in being the busy bee, in doing what you're doing, without really focusing on the end results? Okay. The question, see, all busy people get huge satisfaction from being busy. It's very addictive to be busy. But entrepreneurs or entrepreneurial mindset people or entrepreneurship attitudinal people pause and say, what are you busy in, my friend? What is it that it will take you to? What is your goal? What do you want to achieve? Are you clear about your vision of your life? 3 years, 5 years? And then come back and see, what are you busy in? And suddenly you pause and say, what, I've been busy last 1 hour, doing Googling and finding out things. What for? So you keep shifting to Amazon, you keep shifting to Netflix. You will stop. I have nothing against these sites. Please do not misunderstand me. But I'm saying, if your goal is clear, you will first work towards that and take a proper break of 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 2 hours, whatever you wish to take. But you are running the life, not the life is running you. I mean, I have a very most often repeated phrase that, the dog should wag the tail. The tail should not wag the dog. It's not possible to do that. Right? So I have to decide when and where I'm going to be spending my time, resources, and efforts, not the other way around. So that's what I was saying. Self-confidence. Again, the third thing. It starts from power of belief. It starts in believing in what you are, not being focusing, not looking at your weaknesses, but looking at strength, covering your strength. Where will it take you? And finally, I will never be tired of speaking about the ownership part and not just economics.
I agree with you. Today's youth actually has been, seen taking entrepreneurship as a preferred choice. So would you like to give some examples to our viewers?
I don't know
if they are right in the right direction, or should they do it, or some good examples and some bad too.
I am not sure that they are looking at entrepreneurship as a career, as a preferred choice. They're looking at becoming an entrepreneur as a preferred career choice, right? And I have already said that absolutely no harm done in whatever career you take. But I would recommend that use entrepreneurship as a tool, as an arsenal, as a means towards the end, and not the end in itself. So whether becoming an entrepreneur is your career goal, or reaching a position of CEO in some few years is your career goal, or anything else is in a career goal, because first thing that demands an entrepreneurial mindset, entrepreneurship, is have a clear vision, inspiring vision. It does not mean that it has to remain there and that, but clearly Take the example that, okay, I want to achieve this. Is that vision clear to you? First question. Now that is clear. Now use entrepreneurship as a tool, as an arsenal to reach there. And you'll find you will not settle merely for success. You will do everything else that we have been talking about. Let me just go back to ownership from another perspective, and which a lot of us have probably studied, and especially the teachers and professors, with my respect to you, is the concept of circle of control and circle of concern. There are a lot of things that are not in my control. Traffic is not in my control. Political scenario is not in my control. Climate is not in my control. Falling market is not in my control. Joblessness is not in my control. There are so many things that are not my control. Okay. Few of those things out of all that would be in my control. Now, I'm just saying, if this is my circle of concern where I have placed all those things that matter to me, that have impact on me and my life, and this subset of that smaller circle, I place things that are in my circle of control. The question is, where do you focus? If you focus on circle of concern, you feel helpless. You feel resourceless. You say, यार क्या कर सकते हैं यार, कुछ नहीं हो सकता, इस दुनिया में कुछ नहीं हो सकता, इस देश में कुछ नहीं हो सकता, यहाँ कुछ नहीं हो सकता. We keep talking, we keep criticizing. While we were doing this, some people were focusing on circle of control and saying, यार चल ये कुछ नहीं, मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ, what is it that I can do? Like, for example, when we talk about traffic is not in your control, but leaving home early 5 minutes earlier than usual is in your control or not. Simple example. So when you focus on your circle of control, to me, that is ownership. And when you are focusing on your circle of concern, more you focus on circle of concern, your circle of control reduces. More you focus on circle of control, it expands. That is the whole idea about the entrepreneurship. So I would like to relate it to excellence. I would like it to relate to ownership of circle of control, focus. That is where this whole business of entrepreneurship comes.
Brilliantly explained, sir. So you just mentioned a few minutes ago about the courses or the programs about it. So I would like to ask you, especially from the student's perspective today, if you are in that decision-making phase, is there any bachelor's or diploma or PG diploma courses or programs that they can study? So entrepreneurship can be studied. I think you just confirmed to that. And so will they do any good to you?
I think if they go to the site, they will find. We offer a lot of such programs, a lot of such courses. We are teamresults.in. You might want to visit us or check with us. That's one. But this is not my selling my program kind of a talk here. So there are organizations available. But I'm saying, before you, so NISBUD is, like I said, National Institute of Entrepreneurship and Small Business. NIESBUD, Noida. NISBUD does some certification programs in entrepreneurship. There is an Institute of Entrepreneurship in Ahmedabad. I'm not exactly aware of it. They do, some certificate programs. In today's time, probably those people have shifted to online mode. I'm not aware of it. The point I'm trying to make here is that I would want to believe, and this is just something, that a truly entrepreneurial mindset person is not bothered about gathering diplomas and degree. For him, it is to actually start practicing it. Okay, so that's where this is, and I've been repeating, repeatedly. Take one, forget everything. If you have not picked anything today, I'm fine. If you can, because of this discussion today, start focusing on your circle of control rather than concern.
Yeah,
I think
that can make a lot of difference. I think we've heard something about, are there any international programs available in this context?
There is one which is called MPRAC, which is by the United Nations Development Program, UNDP. They have, I think, some sort of a tie-up with some institute in Kolkata, if I remember correctly. They offer that, but that is primarily for working professionals with reasonable, decent experience. It's not for students. Currently they are not offering like that.
All right. In fact, we've been hearing, I've personally visited a few colleges and universities, that there are something like, innovation and startup labs which are getting created. So is there any relevance of this to this topic that you're talking about today?
So just think of innovation. What do we mean by innovation? Not settling for mere success, going for excellence will fit in there. Taking calculated risk will there. If you want to innovate, you'll focus on your circle of control rather than looking what else has been happening from that perspective. You will have a very clear vision of what you want to achieve. So innovation as a byproduct of entrepreneurship fits in beautiful. So again, taking calculated risk with respect to innovation, because when you are innovating something, there is a risk. Okay, by the definition, innovation and initiative go hand in hand. They're almost like two sides of the same coin. So I also understand that a lot of institutes are offering part of their curriculum, some programs, some this thing on entrepreneurship. That I'm aware of, but I'm genuinely not aware right now of, maybe I can probably get back to you and through you to your audience to find out that which is if there is a specific degree diploma. I don't think it is there, but maybe. But people are offering certifications, programs, courses on entrepreneurship. I mean, you look at it today's. If you see what is Atmanirbhar. Let's look at the political situation in the country today. I'm no supporter of any particular leader or party or government. Let's not. But since we live in the country, we have to be aware of that. What is the government trying to do today? So when the government is trying to say Atmanirbhar is nothing but entrepreneurship.
Yes, you rightly defined
that. It's a clear, direct, explanation of entrepreneurship. So you have currently a leadership which is openly promoting entrepreneurship. I believe India has never had so good in terms of, now whether they're working, not working, again, I don't want to get into that debate. But the fact is, at least the sloganeering is correct. You're at least talking of this.
Yes.
And
yes,
that's
yeah. I wanted to check back with you actually, but TASA Asia also has been, I think we sent over 15 students last year for somewhere in Europe for, entrepreneurship bachelors, and also somewhere in master's level too. So there are some courses available, especially in the European region. So they are undergoing the students.
Great job. I would love to understand.
I really, in this situation, how is the whole thing working out? That's a different thing. But yes, there are certain programs that I just wanted to mention it out.
An organization which is training people or teaching people entrepreneurship, believe you me, would not be sitting down right now idle, waiting for COVID to get over.
They will be showing their own attributes to improvise on the situation.
It's going against the grains of entrepreneurship to sit back and say, "Abhi jab COVID khatam hoga, tab baat karenge."
Right. So these actually innovation startup labs. I just wanted to emphasize here for the audience also. They are not project labs. They are not science lab sort of thing. They are not laboratories to do only experiment. These are startup labs where I think you are expected to take up a project or a capstone or a real life project and then try to do, something out of that and derive some success factors out of that.
In the corporate world, organizations are creating these entrepreneurial labs. So they set up, some people, give them some space, but then say, "Kal jo karna hai, let's come up with that." Look at a pharma industry, for example. I work with a lot in pharma companies. So again, pharma, what do they do? How do they come up with the R&Ds? Look at the automobile R&D, right? So there are two things. One is design and development, and second is research and development. Design and development is when you take the current vehicle and make it better, make it more fuel efficient, make it more effective. And R&D is to completely, blue sky thinking, a greenfield project, right? So I remember when I was vice president for Hero Motors, we were trying to look at a two-wheeler, with a roof. So it had like a three-wheeler kind of a thing, but it was two-wheeler with two people sitting, but it had a clear kind of a roof situation. And we were working with BMW at that point of time, seeking help from them as well. So there are a lot of people who keep working on newer ideas, this thing. And they are, by organizations recognize them, set them aside. You have this attitude in you, let's go ahead and put you on that. So if once you develop this attitude, there are people who are willing to invest in you, who will be, you don't need, genuinely, you don't need money. If you have the right attitude of entrepreneurship, believe you me, there'll be people who are willing to invest in your ideas.
Actually, you just answered one of the questions which is being thrown upon multiple times on FB and Zoom platform. Do you need money to start be an entrepreneur? To be an entrepreneur, you just answered. You don't need money, or not so much of money at times.
Maybe you need money to become an entrepreneur, but you need no money to demonstrate.
Zero, absolutely. Zero is the right answer. So that answered it all.
Again, all your questions are taking me back to, if I may use the word with due respect, confusion between entrepreneur and entrepreneurship. You don't need money for entrepreneurship. You definitely need money to become an entrepreneur. But at the same time, if you don't have entrepreneurship, you will be sinking that money the fastest.
That's also right.
Even if you had money.
That's also right. Absolutely, absolutely.
And that is the reason. Why is it that, these angel investors and everybody ask you to make a presentation? What do they see? Believe me, they don't see, because they don't understand your passion for what you want to create. They only see how passionate you are about it. So they're all questions, they're all probing. Everything is to understand that, have you got that entrepreneurial mindset about it? They don't tinker because, you realize that some of them, when they're dealing with engineers, they're dealing with technicians, they're dealing with scientists, they're dealing with techno, they don't have the skills to be able to challenge them. They look at their attitude. Yes. All the probing, all the questions, presentations are primarily to assess the attitude, not the skills.
All right, sir. I think you've brilliantly gone through the entire session. The audience would have loved it. They have so many questions also coming up. Most of them already answered by virtue of our discussions with you. But what will be the parting advice to students, parents, etc., who are on this show on such a critical advice, on such a critical platform?
So let me first speak to the parents. I think all of us need to open up about taking risks, letting our children take risks. Please do not misunderstand me. I'm not telling you that I'm what a fantastic parent and I am. My daughter, excellent, gold medalist in school. She was in Shri Ram College of Commerce, doing extremely well, had got admission in, some of the management places, etc. She walked up to me, in fact, woke me up at once at 2 o'clock in the night. And she told me, Papa, I don't want to get into the corporate rut. I was shocked because my elder daughter had done her MBA from XLRI Jamshedpur, was in a well-settled job. So somewhere life was, this is how things are going to be operate. The younger one, woke me up and said, I said, what do you want to do? ये तो आसान है बेटा कि क्या नहीं करना है, करना क्या? And she said, I want to get into the film line. The heart sank. I said, film line? I mean, beta, my stupid question was, beta, it's okay to have that hobby. But what do you want to make a career in? She said, I want to make a career in film line. I want to become a director. I want to become a creative producer and all. I think वो रात के 2 बजे थे तो मेरा दिमाग खराब हुआ था. अगर वो दिन के टाइम पूछती तो मैं दूसरे तरीके से रिएक्ट करता. रात के 2 बजे मुझे नींद से उठा के बुलाया गया था तो मैंने बड़े फिल्मी अंदाज में बोला, जा बेटा जी ले अपनी जिंदगी. But on a serious note, I thought about it. All of us expect to live about 80 years of age. I said, she's asking me for 2 years. 2 years in that 80 years time frame, क्या फर्क पड़ता है यार? नहीं कर पाएगी, इतना तो मुझे भरोसा है. फिर से मैनेजमेंट के उसमें बैठेगी, she will clear. तो फिर जो हम चाहते हैं वो कर लेगी. Today she's doing very well. I'm extremely proud of her. She's been there for 5 years now in Mumbai. She's a creative producer. She's working with a lot of good people. She's currently in Goa shooting and enjoying her life to the full. Again, I'm saying, please do not misunderstand. I'm not presenting, myself as an ideal parent, and to a lot of children out there, as a reference point to look, that guy also said, that's not my, but I'm saying as parents, let us get a little bit more relaxed about letting children do little different things than what we had always been doing. Yes, there will be elements of risk. Okay. But believe me, if you allow them to do what they really genuinely want to do. Going back to the students at the same time is, do you really want to do it? Or is it the fashionable thing to do? Is it the hashtag that is currently trending? Be very fair to yourself before you be fair to your parents or to anybody else about it. It's about your life. Okay. So again, as an entrepreneur, your vision should be absolutely clear. Do you really want to? No problem. If you're honest to say, I'm not clear, but I want to explore it for next 3 months. You can't be saying that I want to explore it for 3 years. Come on. But yes, you can say that I want to explore it for 3 months. That is where, you can. So as children, as parents, my request to you is just the fact that if you start again, I may be, like an old record or a broken record, I may keep going back to circle of control and ownership, circle and control and ownership, because that is something that you can start practicing immediately from this moment. It's 8:46. At 8:50, you can start practicing the ownership part. You can start practicing, focusing on the circle of control. What is it that is in my control? Right? Don't talk about, so many street dogs, this is developing the attitude towards entrepreneurship, and it will take you places.
I think that was brilliantly answered. But I would just like to mention, you mentioned about, a girl or a boy trying to get into film line or something like that. In fact, a lot of students actually also approach us as a company, and whether the parents want them to do it in this way, and the student is, by virtue of his, peer connections or family connections or glamour or whatever they want to take into, they want to get into something else. There's a major disconnect sometimes, or they've been over influenced to take up a particular education pattern throughout, but become unsuccessful at times, at a in a professional life. So, we also guide students on a scientific counseling basis. We perform that and help them plan their careers, whether their next step of education could be in India or outside or whatever it is. Not only in their career, not only in their academic, but also career planning. So we also many students have taken our help too.
You guys are an expert in international education. I'm not, but I know that many of the current management institutes in India, somebody in the responses mentioned NMIMS. Yes, there are many institutes which are offering, integrated programs in entrepreneurship. Explore that, look at that. But I also want you to please appreciate one thing. When you are looking for a program in entrepreneurship, be very clear, because there are a lot of programs that train you on how to become a successful entrepreneur, which is how to write your business, plan, how to write your this thing, how to do resources, how to read a balance sheet and all that, which is all great tools to run a business. I'm not underestimating that, but I'm again wanting you to remember that what we discussed today was entrepreneurship, not becoming an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
There are a lot of programs in that field. There are fewer programs in entrepreneurship, but you should be clear. You should not end up interchanging and doing a program and becoming an entrepreneur when you actually wanted to do a program in entrepreneurship, is my point that I'm making.
All right, sir. I think that winds up our day. People have been asking so many questions. We tried to answer by through this discussion itself. We try to answer all of them. So thank you, Mr. Gupta, and thank you, audience, for being with us this Saturday. It was really nice having you, sir, on this panel. Very insightful session this was. We'd love to have you sometime in the future. Thanks once again, and have a good day. Thanks, audience, for being with us. So we'll see you once again next week, same day, same time. This is Saturday. That will be Saturday, 8th August, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. IST with another interesting subject of interest. Until then, goodbye and take care. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.